What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. And we have Daily Colts News, Episode 2, Day 2, and we have two topics to talk about today. So, Colts meet with Malik Willis. Per Ian Rappaport, there's a tweet on Twitter right here from the NFL Now. Among the visits coming up for the Liberty quarterback Malik Willis are the Falcons, Panthers, and Colts all next week. So there's my proof right there. It's been all over on some Colts article sites. It's been all over. And what does this mean? Will the Colts really make a push, or are they just doing this to study a quarterback that they're going to have to eventually face? And what I just said there is the last option. That's what I truly believe it means that they're doing. They're going to want to get to know him. Maybe there is a slight chance he drops a little bit and they get a chance to trade up for him. You got to be ready. But I don't see him getting past 20. I don't see him getting past very far. Many teams that are in need for a quarterback, many teams that have a veteran quarterback sitting that would love to have a quarterback like Malik Willis sit behind a veteran and come back half season next year, whenever it is. And even though, do not believe he should be a week 1 starter. He is not a week 1 starter. He is raw. He's a great runner, and he has a cannon, but he struggles to learn how to use it. He is very accurate, but sometimes he does overthrow. Sometimes he does over-rocket. He does overpower his throws, and it leads to being inaccurate at times. It leads to him missing some of those layups. So that might sound really familiar, Carson Wentz, but Malik Willis is younger. He can still change. He can improve. Now, when I say change, there's only so much that you can really change in a quarterback. You can't really change too much. There's only so much that you can change, especially in their nature and their natural ability. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. So, Malik Willis, the Colts are meeting with him. What does it mean? So, if he does some crazy, wild scenario, he falls, which is always a player that everyone is surprised that falls. Malik Willis can be one of those players. Anyone can. So if he falls and the Colts have a chance to maybe move up and take a shot on him, let him sit a year or two behind Matt Ryan, because he's not going to start this year. Matt Ryan is a set-in-stone starter for week 1 this year. So he may be a quarterback that you want to go and draft and let him sit for a year or two. He's definitely a project. Like I said, he's raw. He's definitely raw in reading coverages. So I don't believe it's necessarily reading coverages. When you watch the tape, he's smart, and he reads coverages pretty damn well for a Liberty quarterback. For a quarterback that's in that small of a school, I guess it's still D1, but still a small school for D1. Just not a top tier program. But it's more so he doesn't, when he's scrambling, he keeps his head down, and he's a run first. So when he looks up, or he tries to force it, it's often too late, or he just doesn't see the linebacker, the corner, or the safety, which you could argue is a bad reading of the defense. But at the same time, he does seem to be pretty good at reading defenses. I think that's a lazy argument. If you look into it more, it's more so him just forgetting they're there, kind of, I guess. But that's something a coach can teach. But you can't always teach some natural ability, whether it's positive or negative. Sometimes it just has to be there. And sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's good. So, as we've heard before, Chris Ballard, Frank Reich, they like to study every quarterback coming out of the draft. So they know when they go up against them, they know how to play against them. Chris Ballard, Frank Reich, they have said this numerous times. Very smart. Many other teams do it as well. So I think that's what the main purpose is. But if they do have a chance, they do have to be prepared and go for it. But I don't see it happening. But maybe it's one of those wild scenarios where Malik falls. You never know. So Malik Willis, 6 foot, 219. He's not crazy big. He's kind of a hybrid between Lamar and Josh Allen. His hands, 9.5 inches, pretty big hands, good hands. So, I wouldn't mind. But the main purpose of the visit is to get to know him. And if they get the shot, to maybe move up, to get the opportunity, or when they play him, so they know what he's about. So they know what he's capable of. That's what I believe the Colts are more so doing this for. But you gotta be ready just in case if the opportunity presents itself. So then you have Stephen Holder on Twitter talking about there are a growing number of agents out there who have told me the Colts are being way too stingy on spending. I can't speak to why that is, though have some theories, but regardless of why, it is what it is at this point. So first off, he follows that up with another tweet, kind of a continuation or a reply to his original one. It says, important addendum. The counterpoint here is that the Colts spend lots of money in-house. They have several players among highest paid at their positions. Darius Leonard, first highest. Buckner, third highest. Kelly, fifth highest. Braden Smith, fourth highest. Quentin Nelson is about to join that list. Some very, very important points. But when you have a quarterback like Matt Ryan, when you have a quarterback like Carson Wentz last year that you traded for, you kind of don't want to leave them left in the dead. You still need to support them. You still need to get them weapons. Not just that, you still need to build in places where you need players. You can't, I really like the idea of just building through the draft. Building through the draft, developing guys in-house, paying your guys, and winning football games that way. But you can't do it solely on drafting. You have to go out and make some trades, which is why I really like the DeForest Buckner trade. Sometimes you have to go out and spend some money. And as we see here, there's signs. We've seen it many times, even with George Odom. That relationship was over since last year. Since he was tagged. Since he got, that restricted free agent stuff. Since he was tagged on a one-year deal. He want to go somewhere else, and he want to go make money for a starting safety because he's talented. And he's a very good special teams player. He was an all-pro special teams player. He was very good when he stepped in for Julian Blackmon. And he didn't even give him an offer. He didn't even try to bring him back. The Niners went out and they took him. And that's what's going to happen when you're going to be stingy. Sometimes you have to go out, and sometimes you have to go and spend some money. And yeah, it's risky. But you have to take risks. If you don't take no risks, you're not going to move up. And that's where Chris Ballard is struggling with, in my opinion. Now, like I said, I believe in the draft. Drafting and being good at drafting is extremely important. Getting those cheap contracts, getting those good players on the cheap contracts. But you also have to find the balance of signing a guy or two that's going to make a big difference. You can't be scared to go out and pay the extra money because you're going to have to. So, kind of stinks. But, I guess long-term building keeps you better longer. Keeps the window open longer. But is the window ever really that strongly open? Like, is it open all the way? Is it just cracked? Or is the window closed? Is the window closed already? And it may be. But with Matt Ryan, with us re-signing Matt Pryor, not signing Trent Armstead, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that one because we're gonna have to pay Big Q. He's gonna be the highest paid guard, one of the highest paid offensive linemen, if not the highest. And that's going to be half of our salary cap on the offensive line alone. So, I think Matt Pryor can fill in at left tackle just fine. But with Chris Reed and Mark Lewinsky leaving, there's going to be players that you need to look into in the draft, maybe later on, maybe some guys on free agency, and sign someone at guard, because that is a hole. You do have Denny Pinter, but you need some depth as well. We don't know how Denny Pinter is going to perform at right guard. When he stepped in for Ryan Kelly, he was solid. But how well is he going to do over there at right guard when he's going to be a starter all year? You know, you need to bring in you need to bring in an insurancy policy just in case. So, you guys let me know what you think about these two topics. Colts meet with Malik Willis. What does it mean to you? Why do you think they're doing it? Do you think they will maybe trade up? Do you think the opportunity will present itself and the Colts trade up? Or Malik wildly falls to them? Wildly falls. And Chris Ballard being Chris Ballard in free agency. Colts being Colts in free agency. Stingy. Not spending much. Not bringing free agents in that could ultimately make a big difference. You can't be scared. Oh yeah, and I know you see that. That's just a tweet. But I figured I would just go to it instead, so whatever. But you guys let me know what you think of these topics. Pretty important topics in my opinion. Some topics that need to be talked about. And this was episode 2 of Daily Colts News. Hope you've enjoyed. And if you did, make sure to like, subscribe, put that post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. And I hope you have a good night, a great day, whenever you're watching this. I'll catch you later. This is JDW Sports Talk Show, signing off.